All right, guys, real quick. We have two guys that were ill today. Ricky Seals-Jones, Darwin Thompson, both sick. And then Fish back, Rimmer's back, and Damian Wilson didn't practice again.
All right, guys, I think Coach Spags is going to be our first guy today, so hang tight, and we'll get him in a couple minutes here. All right, guys, we got Coach Spags stepping up to the podium next. Well, hey, Coach, can you hear us okay?
All right, how we doing? We got everybody?
We got everybody. We're ready to start when you are.
Okay. I'll just start by saying we were outside today, and it was great. It was beautiful outside. Beautiful day in Kansas City. Glad to get out there. And with that, I'll just open it up.
Let's go first to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Steve. The Saints are not saying whether Drew Brees will be back this week, so there's some indecision maybe on this end there. I know you've been through that situation hundreds of times in your career, but I was wondering if it's any different this time, given that maybe the difference in styles between Drew Brees and Taysom Hill.
Yeah, I mean, no question they're different. I mean, you're talking about a future Hall of Famer and then a guy that's playing really good football that gives us the added threat of running the ball. Look, we need to defend the scheme. They do really well with whoever they put back there. There's a lot of other weapons there besides the guy that gets the ball on the snap. So, listen, we've just tried to defend the scheme this week, and we'll try to make in-game adjustments. And we got a staff of coaches that I think do a great job at that. So that's how we'll approach it.
Go next to Nate Taylor. Go ahead, Nate.
Hey, Steve, I know we asked you a lot about Tyrann just because he's so talented. But in terms of the responsibility that you place upon him and his availability since you guys have been together, Just what most impresses you about his availability with all the responsibilities on top of it?
Yeah, great point. There's a lot of things that T5 does that go unnoticed. Little things like talking to teammates, helping teammates out. I mean, I know earlier in the season, he had young guys over at his home, trying to mentor them. He takes that real serious. And then, again, when the best player in a group is your hardest worker, that group tends to do really well. I'm talking about the DB group. I think he does that real well. He's he's a safety valve for me, no pun intended. I mean, we can do things because he's cerebral. It's important to him, and he can go out there and get it done. He's a real good, in my opinion, he's a real natural football player, great instincts, and that's huge in this game.
Let's go next to Herbie Teope. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Coach. Good afternoon. You mentioned defending the scheme, and when you look over there, what Sean Payton has, what are some of the challenges defending against a guy like Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, and Jared Cook, and Emmanuel Sanders? The list goes on.
The list goes on and on. I know. Well, listen. One of the things you got to do is you got to limit explosive plays, because when you give a team like that has all those weapons, easy scores or easy chunk yardage, it makes them really, really tough. You got to make them earn it, and yet I say that, and yet they're really good at methodically working down the field, whether it's Drew or whether Tyson's in there, and that I think is a credit to the scheme and the way they do things, and been doing it like that for a long time. And yet they balance it up enough that you can't just feature one or try to defend one thing. They got a good enough run game, and we know about all the weapons throwing it. So it's a huge challenge for our guys. We talked about it right from the onset of this week. I think we practiced real well. I think our guys are ready for it, and we'll see what happens on Sunday.
Let's go next to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Hi, Coach. Understanding that you guys didn't have a real offseason, and that helps with rookies, how far along is Willie Gay from knowing the defensive playbook and all the assignments and enough to be on the field for a little bit more of the snaps?
I think his knowledge of the playbook is pretty good. We've kept things pretty much the same in the packages that he's in there. I just think it's getting out there and playing. I mean, I don't know what his total snaps are, but certainly not enough to get him to where, when you have training camp and you have that base of snaps, and it's just going to be a growth process. But listen, we love the way he plays. He's passionate about how he plays, and he's gone out there and made some plays for us. So little by little, we'll just keep feeding it to him.
Got time for a couple more. We'll go Vahe and then Tyrann. Go ahead, Vahe.
Hey, Steve. Just also with Tyrann, he does have this sort of knack for being around the ball, and I think we look at that as instinct, but obviously it goes deeper than that. I just wonder if you could describe what it takes what kind of preparation it takes and how that reflects who he is.
Listen, he's a passionate football player. I thought last week's interception was an example of what he's all about. We talk all the time to the guys about production is at the ball. And simply stated is you get to the ball, you got a chance of making those plays. I mean, if he's not the relentless, playing fast kind of guy that he is, he doesn't make that interception because he's not back there. I mean, he was actually responsible for covering somebody else. His guy blocked, he freed up, and then instead of just kind of floating to the point where the ball was thrown, he was humping it, and he got the interception. I think that's reflective of what he's all about, and that makes a huge, huge difference. We get everybody doing that, we'll make a lot more plays like that.
We'll go last to Tyrann Petro. Go ahead, Tyrann.
Coach, I know you've seen a running quarterback already, right? Lamar Jackson, but Taysom Hill's kind of a different style, more of a fullback, battering ram type of running quarterback. How does that affect, how different is it? Is there anything you carry over from the Baltimore approach to what you do now, with the different styles of running quarterback?
A little bit with Baltimore because they had some power runs in there, but it feels a lot. Now, we didn't go against Cam Newton when we played the Patriots, but we prepared for him. And they had plays in there that were kind of power quarterback plays. And I think when a quarterback can throw as well as this kid can and play that position as well as he does and be a power runner, that's pretty impressive. I mean, that's a little bit Cam Newton-ish, and we know what Cam's all about when he gets rolling. So it's a great challenge for our guys. I mean, all those things you're all talking about, is Drew Brees going to play? Is he not going to play? The quarterback they have, all those weapons that you're talking about. It's a huge, huge week for us. Hopefully we can hold up to the challenge and do something good to help our organization and team win a game.
Coach Spags, we appreciate the time. Thanks for
Okay,
joining us.
thank you. You got it.
All right, guys, we got Coach EB coming your way next.
All right. Good afternoon.
We're ready for you whenever you are.
All right. Hope all is well with everyone. I hope everybody's families continue to stay safe and sound throughout this particular time. On top of that, how about the Chiefs winning the AFC West for the 5th year in a row? What a great accomplishment for the organization, a great accomplishment for our players. But one thing that we're still striving for, there's still a goal that we're pursuing. We still want to establish home field advantage, and the goal is always to win the Super Bowl. So with that said, I'm all ears.
Let's start first with Sam McDowell. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Eric. You guys went for a key 4th down last week, and I'm wondering, just generally speaking on 4th downs, if you could take me through the process of how you determined to go for it. Are you waiting on the signal from Andy, or do you guys have enough time to sort of dissect and converse about what you're going to do there?
Well, there's normally a plan prior to, and we talked through that plan the night before, leading up throughout the whole entire week, thinking about different things. If this particular scenario comes up, what are we thinking here? And so, yes, there is a plan, and there is some conversation. You know, one thing sometimes those conversations can be a little heated. Sometimes they're very, very easy to have, but they're always exciting. And the thing that we loved about it was that, hey, our guys knew exactly what we wanted from them. They knew exactly what to do, and they went out and executed, and it gave us an opportunity to go ahead and win the game.
Let's go next to Herbie Teope. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Coach, you're entering this game week preparation with some issues on the offensive line, specifically on the bookends. And knowing that you've got to face Trey Hendrickson and even Cam Jordan, what have you seen in the tape with Durant's game last week that gives you confidence that if he is the next man up, he'll be able to accomplish the job?
Well, here's the thing. He's a professional football player. We've signed him for a reason. So we've always had a deal around here. The next man is up. And so Coach Heck is going to get those guys ready to roll. You know, he does a great job of preparing those guys. That's a tight-knit room. And regardless who's out there, we're going to have trust in him. We're going to believe that he can go out there and get it done. And when it's all said and done, it's his job and our duty to make sure that we're putting the right player in the right position to go out and execute his job. So one thing that we understand as well, when we're doing this job, trust is a sensitive issue. And we put those players out there in positions to execute their job, and we're trusting them. And so they have a great deal of trust in us as well. So we just want whoever's going to be out there. If it's Yasir's going to go out there and play his tail off for us.
Let's go next to Steve Weish. Go ahead, Steve.
Hey, Eric, we talked about sort of earlier this year how some defenses were not allowing some of the big plays by playing back, playing soft. But the Saints, they really mix it up. They're going to challenge you guys at times on this. Does Kelsey, just having him as a chess piece, is that what's opening up some of the explosive plays that we've seen you guys kind of go on that weren't necessarily happening early in the season?
You know what? I think it's a collaboration of a lot of things. I think guys are stepping up, on the perimeter. I mean, we've seen what Tyreek has done. Obviously, Kelsey becomes a different type of entity. Last week, you saw a youthful Sammy Watkins. McCole has been making plays. So I think what we have a unique chemistry, and those guys are clicking right now. Now, is it perfect? No, it's not. We still have a long ways to go, and we're still looking for that perfect game that we need to play. But when it's all said and done with, our guys are doing a good job of finding a way to finish. And I think that's the most important thing. Now, one thing I will say about this defense, and I've said this each and every week, collectively, from the front end to the back end, this is probably one of the best defenses that we have faced all season long. And I mean, they're deep at every position. And so this is going to be a very, very unique challenge. we understand because of who we are and what we've accomplished, we're going to get their best shot. But I also know that our guys are going to be mentally and physically prepared to go out there and play a 60-minute sound football game as well.
Next to Tyrann Petro. Go ahead, Tyrann.
Coach, go a little bit further on what Sam McDowell asked you about the fourth down. Just if you could, you say sometimes it gets a little heated.
Oh, yeah.
In what, like which play or?
Oh, no. This just coaches talking back and forth to one another, just making sure the communication is as sound as it needs to be, because everybody has the most best play. And so we want to make sure that we're all on the same page. And we do a great job of talking through those scenarios throughout the whole entire week. And just like we said, there's a collaboration. Joe and Frazier upstairs giving us thoughts. Hey, you know what? It's second down here. Think about a fourth down call. And so we're always in constant communication. And one thing that we've known here for years, and Coach stresses this, is communication is the key to any successful relationship. And we do a great job of over communicating clarity with one another.
And just, is there do you sense, in the game, how long you've been in the game, that like going for it on fourth down is becoming easier? It's becoming something that you're more likely to choose to do now. And is it something that you think you see that continuing, right? It's something that it's not going to be, this, it's fourth down kind of thing in a couple of years when teams go for it.
I think it's something strategically done. It's thought about. Obviously, we got Mike Frazier, who does a heck of a job with our analytics, always feeding us information. But like I said, it's all about constant communication and making sure that we're all on the same page and making sure that when that particular situation is up, it's not going to be detrimental to us. It's going to be more of a positive uplift and making sure that regardless of what happens, good, bad, or indifferent, okay, we're still leaving ourselves in the right situation at the right particular time.
We'll go last to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Eric, I have a hard time believing that when it comes time to make an opinion, to register an opinion, you don't make yourself clear there. So let's just say that. But I wanted to ask you about Travis Kelce. No tight end has ever led the league in receiving. He's there, at least for now. He's leading the league in receiving. What is it about him, his game, what you guys have going on here that's allowed him maybe to go, at least so far, where no tight end has gone before?
You know what? I think Kelce brings a lot of different things to the game. Obviously, he's a very skillful athlete. He can pick up the ball like no one I've ever seen. He has a way of tracking the football. And also, too, he has a great knowledge of the game because he's played quarterback in his background before. So watching him do these things, it does not shock or surprise me. Now, in efforts of making sure that I'm respecting my elders and playing with against some of the guys from the past, the past game has changed. Back in the days when I played, a lot of guys were playing with their hand in the dirt, okay, and making plays from that particular alignment. We have the flexibility to line Kelce up all over the field and take advantage of some of the new passing rules. But I will say this, Kelce works his tail off. He's very professional. And, I'm glad he's on our side. But it's been fun watching him grow and watching where he's going with this thing. And I'm just happy that we all have an opportunity to be a part of history.
Coach EB, we appreciate your time today. Thanks for joining us.
All right. You guys take care.
You too. All right, guys, we got Coach Toub coming your way next. All right, Coach, you ready for us? All right, we'll get started. We'll start first with Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey, Coach, I know you guys have to make roster decisions all the time, but Marcus Kemp had to be waived, and he has 60 to 70% of the snaps for you guys. What do you lose in losing Kemp?
A great special teams player. He was really playing at a high level, but it's just unfortunate. I mean, sometimes the numbers, it happens that way. I mean, it's been a crazy year, 2020, so – it's just the way it is. I mean, sometimes that happens. I don't blame Miami. He's a good player. For going after him and getting him on the practice squad or whatever they're going to do with him. I think that was a good move by them. Obviously we'll always keep our eye on where Kemp is at all times. So, good luck to him going forward.
Go next to Nate Taylor. Go ahead, Nate.
Dave, I know you mentioned that Harrison watches himself and other kickers around the league. He's gotten back into really a nice rhythm. Just what do you think that he's found out about himself and going through this little bit of a struggle, a little bit of a valley as he starts to peak again?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know exactly what's going on in his head, but I just know he's in a really, really good place right now. His practices have been excellent. He's been 100% in practices. Obviously, his warm-ups in the game, I feel real confident that he can take it back as 58 yards for sure. He can probably hit 60 plus. So he's hitting the ball really well right now, and we want to keep him there. I don't want to change up what he's doing right now. He's just really in a good place right now, and he's hitting the ball well.
Let's go next to Sam Mellinger. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Dave, this might sound a little bit off the wall, just say that right off the top, but I know a lot's been made of Andy's, sort of coaching tree, the guys that work for him going on other places. And I'm wondering, is from your point of view, working with him so closely, is part of the success guys have when they leave, it just seems like he empowers. We talk about like playing with your personality, right? Does he do the same with coaches? And it's
no question. He gives us a chance. I mean, that's a great question. I'm glad to answer it too, because he gives us this opportunity to get out here in front of you guys. That's a big deal. You're out there and you're, get to talk to the media. Total trust in all the coordinators. And that's a huge advantage. Some teams don't get that. He puts us out there. He trusts us. He lets us do our job. He trusts us to do our job. He's not micromanager by any means. If he has a question about something, he'll come to you, but he's never going to demean you in front of the team or demean you at a game or yell at you on the sideline. All those things are huge. He treats you like a man, but at the same time, you're watching him the whole time. You're watching how he does things, which is huge for us. And I've learned so much from Andy. I model myself after Andy. I coach. I have the same style as Andy now. It works. He's proven. He's a Hall of Fame coach. If you learn from him and you can resemble him in any way, shape, or form, you're going to be darn good. And it's proven. It's proven that it's effective.
Go next to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Dave, how you doing today?
Great, Adam.
Good. Hey, you were asked earlier about Marcus Kemp, and Dorian O'Daniel is, of course, out, and I think Darwin Thompson didn't practice today. I don't know what his status might be for Sunday, but at any rate, you're losing some of your guys here. Do you feel like you're confident you have the depth to overcome a lot of this, or are you a little concerned how this might look on Sunday?
Well, I'm always concerned. It's always a stressful situation, but nothing that doesn't come with a job, every week. But this week, a little bit more, maybe possibly. So, but it's still early in the week. We still have Friday, and there's guys could come back. So we're waiting to see what happens there. But really, with the new practice, with the new practice squad rules and the new COVID rules, it's a lot easier to bring guys up. You have that flexibility. There's a lot more flexibility in the roster, and it's really, really helped, this year. And that's something that I hope, that they really look at going forward, when COVID's all done and over with, that it's something they might want to keep, the way they have the flexibility with the practice squad, the way it is now, because we're able to pull up a guy immediately if a guy is out. And that's a huge thing. And also get guys back, and instead of being put on IR for the whole season, you have a 3-week IR. So that's another plus. So all those things are helpful, but this week is no different than any other week. We're going to have to shuffle it up a little bit and have some different guys out there. I love your hat too, Adam. The UTEP.
Let's go last two. We'll go Herbie and then Matt. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
You've always said that McCole was close to breaking one, and finally he did break one. But I think you popped the tape back on and you reviewed that play. What was more impressive to you, his return or the block that Chris Lammons put on that defender the spring?
That was a great block by Chris Lammons, but also Amani Watts made a huge block too on number 42. He was their best cover guy. Really, there was a lot of blocks. Harris, 47, he made a great block, and then there was a lot of no blocks. Guys smart no blocks for guys that touch guys in the back to make the play. stand. I mean, that's a huge thing too. And then Kemp, he had the finish block on the kick on the punter, who, he could have laid him out and he decided not to, which is a smart thing because that would have been called a blindside block. So he doesn't do that. And then McColl does what he does. He caught a short kick. He went after it. It was a great job going after that 38-yard kick short in the middle of the field, and he was able to hit it on the run. And we had a left return call. And once he hits the edge, it's hard to stop him because he's got that great speed. And I was really happy for him because the guy's been really working hard, and it's good to have everybody get a reward like a touchdown.
The last to Matt Derrick. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Coach, I'm also going to ask about McColl. Specifically, his numbers in punt return hadn't been that great coming into the game. But have you seen a difference with him the last few games, and especially maybe since he took the kick return load off of him? Have you seen him focus maybe a little bit more in the punt game?
No, he's been doing the same. What's going on is teams been kicking away from him. If you go back and look at our tape, you see a lot of out of bounds kicks, sideline kicks. You don't see anything going down the middle. That was a kick. You have to have a lot of things go right, to get a big return or a touchdown. And he mishit that ball. It was a 38-yarder right down the middle. So, you give McColl that type of kick, he's going to make you pay. But really, teams been kicking away from him. They've been doing that. They respect him. So it makes it tough. The ball's on the ground sometimes, and yeah, I mean, it seems like he wasn't into it, but he really was into it. He wants to return. He wants to be successful, and it was good to see him be successful, especially at this point in his year right now. I think going down the stretch right here, we want to be hitting our stride on special teams, and I was really happy with the way the guys performed overall as a group because that was a good group. They were a good special team. They were ranked number 1 coming in. And our guys rose to the challenge, and I was really proud of them.
Coach Toub, we appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us.
Okay, take care, guys.
All right, guys, hang tight. Tyrann's coming up next. All right, guys. Tyrann is coming up now. Maybe. All right, Tyrann, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, we'll start first with Miss Karen Kornacki. Go ahead, Karen.
Hi, Tyrann. Happy holidays.
Same to you.
Just want to ask you, first of all, if you just kind of analyze the Saints and what you see as the biggest challenge. And then the second thing is the coach was just singing your praises, especially about that interception last weekend. Talk a little bit about just your mentality on the field and how you always seem to be at the right place at the right time. Is that all because of film study? Those two things.
Yeah, well, to answer the first part, I think the Saints are a well-coached football team. They got talent really all over the place. Between Michael Thomas and, Kamara, Jared Cook can still get it done, Traquan Smith, and then Taysom Hill. I think he just brings that extra factor, to the offense. And he's a tough, hard-nosed quarterback. I don't think I can really compare anybody to him. I think he's like in a bracket of his own. I think he embraces contact. So we'll have to do a great job on all three levels, if we really want to play a decent football game on defense. As far as me, I just love to be out there. So, plays break down. I just try my best to get involved, one way or another. I think, that interception last week, obviously I'm man-to-man on the tight end, and he blocks, and my natural instinct is to go help one of my buddies. And so the football just kind of popped in the air, and, we always want to catch those.
Let's go next to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Tyrann. 4 interceptions in the last 3 games for you. Is it just a matter of you're taking advantage of your opportunities, or is there something more there that maybe you're kind of putting yourself in those situations a little more? And Brad, I'll have a quick follow-up as well.
Well, I think, opportunities present themselves, and I just try to capitalize on it. I think, part of it is, effort and, trying to get to the football. And then I think, the extra part is, some of my teammates, playing good defense and popping those balls in the air. And, I think my antennas are always up. And so for me, it's all about, reacting, to what's going on around me.
All right. And you ever had a pick against Drew Brees, and you always remember him when you get one against a Hall of Famer like you did a couple weeks ago against Brady?
Oh, we actually take you way, way, way back. My rookie year, my first interception was off Drew Brees. Actually, it was in the Superdome. So, but we lost the game. So I don't really remember it too fondly. But yeah, my first interception was off Drew Brees.
Let's go next to Herbie Teope. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Tyrann. Demario Davis was saying yesterday that he's watched you, and he feels like he said something along the lines of high-energy players watch other high-energy players. What does that mean to you when you hear that, and do you watch other high-energy players?
Well, that's a great compliment. Yeah, I do. I watch a ton of guys. Obviously the linebacker position, I kind of play there, here and there. But for the most part, I usually focus on safeties. Demario Davis is such a great player, even beyond the football field. I think one of the things I really respect about him is his impact in the community and all the things he's done, and even him kind of embracing those New Orleans kids and trying to help the New Orleans people. And for a guy that's from New Orleans, so much respect for people like that aren't from New Orleans, but yet they're trying their best to kind of help those kids down there. But he's a great player, great talent. And most definitely a high energy guy.
Yep. Let's go next to Vahe Gregorian. Go ahead, Vahe.
Hey, Tyrann. Just to ask you a little more about that New Orleans game, your rookie year. Do you remember the emotions of playing there? And that was the last time you've been there. What do you anticipate feeling when you get there Sunday? Will it really feel like just another game to you?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'm in year 8 now. It'll just be another game for me. I think, going back to my rookie year, I was starting, but I wasn't the starting safety. But our starting safety got hurt, so I had to kind of play every down. So my emotions were high, being a young guy. Like I said, we lost that football game. So in my mind, I didn't make enough plays. And so this time around, hopefully I can, make enough plays to kind of help my team win.
And just also related to some other things you've been speaking about, I know last year you were talking about how you kept dropping interceptions, which your standard was pretty high. But it seems you caught them, and you were joking the other day about you're just looking them in more. But what does it take for you to be around the ball, really? I mean, it's not just instinct. You have to be studying. You have to be anticipating.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot that goes into it as far as the preparation, IDing formations, IDing, key players in certain, positions. And then the next part, I think, so much of defense is us reacting to them. I think anytime, you see a clear picture, you just try to put yourself in the best position, possible to have an impact on the play.
The last two, Pete Sweeney and then Steve. Go ahead, Pete.
Tyrann, what can you say about what L'Jarius and his return and playing that nickel position has meant to some of your success over the past few weeks and really just his season as a whole?
Yeah, well, I think for one, it's kind of helped, me free up a little bit. I'm able to play with more eyes, more instincts. Whereas before, early in the season, I was kind of more so like the third cornerback on the team, where a lot of the situations I was in was man-to-man coverage, and so I think obviously L'Jarius has a great skill set, especially for the nickel position. Him being long, fast, him being able to tackle. I think all those things serve us well. And then obviously Coach Spags, Coach Merritt, those guys are able to kind of move me in a position where I can kind of help everybody in a sense.
We'll go last to Steve. Go ahead, Steve.
Hey, Ty. I got two for you real quickly. Drew Brees could come back, but Taysom Hill is also there. Two different types of quarterbacks. Coach Spags has said you guys may have to adjust mid-game or in-game, depending on who it is. But how are you preparing for one or the other?
Well, I think right now the focus is, Taysom Hill. I think, we all know what Drew Brees can do. We all know the kind of quarterback he is, a rhythm passer, a guy that wants to get the ball, in his playmaker's hands. Whereas I think Taysom, he adds that other factor into it, and obviously he can tuck the ball and run it. I think anytime you're preparing for a Hall of Fame quarterback, it's always difficult. But I think we embrace that competition. So I think if Drew Brees comes out, I think we'll be ready. Our antennas will be up. But as long as Taysom is in there, we understand, it's going to be a physical, hard-nosed kind of football game.
And lastly, on Taysom, he's showing he puts it on the ground. He puts the ball on the ground. I mean, how much are you guys targeting some of the things he does, whether from up front, like his throwing points when he tries to scramble, from when he runs it, and that thing pops out on contact.
Yeah, Coach Spags, we kind of made that a point of emphasis today. I don't know if I'm saying this correctly, but I think the Saints are pretty high, as far as, lost fumbles this season. So, we understand that everybody got to, get a hat to the football. And I think a big part of creating turnovers is not just interceptions. We got to be able to punch the ball out. And so I think that's definitely one of our mindsets going into this weekend.
Tyrann, we appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, guys, that is it for today. If you guys have anything, shoot me a text or give me a call. I got to jump off here early.